3 books restricted at St. Johns County School Board meeting on Tuesday. The St. Johns County School Board is imposing new restrictions on several books following a heated debate among parents and educators. Board members voted to remove 2 titles, Check and Mate and Monday's Not Coming, from middle school libraries, restricting access to grades 9 through 12 with parental permission required to check them out. Another book, There's Someone Inside Your House, has been limited to high school seniors only, also with parental consent. Reactions from the public were in fact mixed. Parent Carol Garanskas raised concerns about restricting access for older students, saying, "My son is 18 in the 11th grade. So now you're saying a grown adult is restricted from reading a book of his choice?" But others supported the restrictions. Parent Jean Moore argued that one of the books includes a serial killer slashing people described in detail, and compared the content to an R-rated film, saying it was not appropriate for the school setting. Beyond the books themselves, some parents challenged the board's overall process for reviewing library materials. Moore accused the board of avoiding accountability, saying this board and district administration has refused to create clear standards and guidelines as to what is considered acceptable and age appropriate. In response, the board announced plans for a workshop session before the new school year to evaluate its procedures. Topics for discussion includes a potential permission slip system and possibly adopting a movie-style rating system for books. But board chair Anthony Coleman urged caution, noting that many students already access similar content outside of school. Quote, "Our media specialists are the professionals, and if they are doing it correctly, it will already be worked out in itself." All right, what are our thoughts on restricting access to books that contain arguably adult content?
Well, I mean, and it comes down to the parent. I'm sorry. Yep. You still can, if parents, if you're upset about this, then you can give them approval to see it. Yeah. I mean, that's the way they structured it, is the way it sounds like to me.
Yep.
And there's certain things that, 9-year-olds to 12-year-olds shouldn't necessarily be seeing it, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're a parent and you feel like your kids should see that, you can say, okay, I want my kid to be able to see that. And I think the way that they're handling that is, I mean, I'm a big First Amendment guy, but when it comes to kids, our job is to make sure they get to that adulthood. And I'm sorry, if he's still in 11th grade, he's not an adult. Okay.
There are exceptions.
Yeah, there are exceptions. I mean, there's a chronological adult, and then there's an adult.
But also,
so if he's in 11th grade or she's in 11th grade, not an adult.
The exception can't be, we can't use the exceptions to create the rule, right?
Yeah.
It's a rare case that you have an 18-year-old that's in 11th grade, so you can't.
And if you really want to see the book, there is access all over the world right now. It's not like when I was growing up, the libraries where you got the book, there wasn't Barnes and Noble on every corner.
Yeah.
We had a local bookstore that had like 12 books. And some of them, didn't even have, crayons with them. So, sorry, Deland. But it sounds the way they have it structured. If the kids really want to have access to it, the parents have to say, yeah, go ahead and let them have it. And if the parents are feeling that strongly about it, just let them have it. So they've given you an avenue to, give the kids the access.
Exactly. I think the thing that gets lost in all these discussions, because we hear banned books and we as Americans get our hankles all up, but these are school libraries. We're just talking about school library. The books haven't been banned in the entire state. It's just a matter of whether we want our tax dollars to fund a book being handed to a kindergartner that probably shouldn't be handed to someone under the age of 13, 14, 18, whatever. So that's the discussion. It's not eliminating the access to this book in our county. It's taking it out of school libraries or restricting it to certain age groups in school libraries and requiring there to be a conversation with the parent, which as a parent, I appreciate. I don't want content just handed to my kids without a conversation. And the idea that well, this stuff exists on the internet. So, what are we going to do? We can still restrict it from my tax dollars funding it. Just because it exists there's a lot of stuff that exists on the internet. That doesn't mean I want a government employee to hand it to my child in 3rd grade.
Yeah.
So that's not the best argument, in my opinion. And that argument kind of gives me the ick, as the kids would say.
I think they got a good balance going.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very fine line you got to walk.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, Tony Coleman's a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good man, and I trust him and Bev and the rest of the board to do the right thing there. But it's a fine line. It's a fine line you have to walk right there, because I mean, like I said, I'm a huge First Amendment guy.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? The parents have to be involved. The parents have to take responsibility.
Yeah.
If you want them to see it, then you have to agree to allow them to see it. So
yeah,
I think
that's a good balance.
I like the movie rating thing. And there's movies you got to be over 17 to see these movies. So even though you can see everything on the internet.
Yeah.
So
we tried to see. I think it was the Chris Kyle story or the Marcus Luttrell movie. I think it was Lone Survivor. And it's a rated R movie, obviously. And I had a newborn who had ear protection, so didn't hear any of the noise in the movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
And, this kid was asleep. It was a late movie. So the kid was asleep, wasn't going to wake up. Had I would have left. They wouldn't let me in because it was a rated R movie. And that was a minor. I'm like, it's an asleep minor. And I'm here as the parent. They wouldn't sell me the ticket for the movie. So, I mean, it's kind of wild.
It's pretty wild.
We had to cancel that date night, get a babysitter.
Was it here in town?
Yeah, it was here in town. It was epic. They wouldn't sell me the ticket because it was a rated R movie and that was a child. And they did
thought you could take your children.
They didn't give me discretion on it. They didn't let me have discretion. They refused to sell the ticket.
I mean, rated R movies, you if you're accompanied by a parent, you can go in.
That's what I thought too. But evidently not.
I think that new kid there kind of got things a little messed up. So.
Maybe, but I definitely got kicked out of that theater. But it was one of those, like, I had a child that was nursing, and the movie was going to be like 2.5 hours. The likelihood that she was going to wake up was low, but she wouldn't take a bottle, so I'm bringing her with me. Yeah, and I can feed her in the back.
I think that's pretty ridiculous there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so possibly because like I think like Epic has like a rule like if like a kid's under 6, then maybe you can't bring in a kid after that point. But definitely like after.
But I guess they have the right to
they have the right
service.
To refuse.
Yeah, they have the right to refuse.
Yeah.
And I was refused. But just that exception doesn't mean that I think we should change the rule.
No, I gotcha.
All right, St. John's County.